Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another one of Nathan Bell's fantastic commentary videos where Nathan talks about society, culture, art, politics, everything. And give it a like, give it a share. And today, Nate wants to talk to you about his dedication to the arts.
Yeah, well, ever since I was a small child, I was just determined that all I wanted to do with my life was something in the arts and creative field. When I was a child, about 5 years old, I used to just love drawing. I would draw all day. I'd draw little figures because I was into like He-Man and stuff and action movies. So I'd draw little characters, and what I'd do, I'd cut them out, and then I'd play games with them as if they were action figures. It's not like I didn't have action figures; I had action figures as well. But I'd draw my own characters, and I called them paper men, and I'd cut them out after I drew them, and then play action games with them, and it's play out all these scenarios and stuff with my own little picture action figures. Then as I got into primary school, I just loved comic books. I just loved the art in comic books and the stories in comic books. I was a big Marvel kid. I liked Spider Man, and Spider Man was my favourite, and I liked X Men. I used to watch the cartoons in the morning as well, Spider Man and X Men, and all the other cartoons back in the late 80s and the early 90s. And I became convinced I was going to start a comic book company. I really wanted to start a comic book company. I always had a business sense about me. I've always had a business sense. It was always about everything I do is always about how can I turn this into a business. And my interest in the arts has always been very business orientated. I'm just like that. I guess I just must be a natural capitalist or something. But I always wanted to start a comic book company, and so I'd draw my own comic books. And I had this comic book which was basically just a rip off of Mortal Kombat, because a mate of mine at primary school had some Mortal Kombat comics, and I started drawing my own one called Deathmatch. How cliche, with all these characters that were like half human and half dragon and lizard people and stuff. And it was basically just a complete rip off of Mortal Kombat, which is what kids do, so that's all right. Because I love the Mortal Kombat comics as well. Um, but as I got older, I became even more invested in art. And then as a teenager, I got more interested in making music. So I started writing songs. And at first, I was into pop punk and Blink 182 and all that, and Rage Against the Machine. I always loved Rage Against the Machine. And, my mother taught me to be political, so I was drawn to political music. So I was into Rage Against the Machine. I would write very rebellious, radical um, rock music, and I tried to start a band in high school, but it didn't go very far. But I played guitar in high school, and I was learning guitar, and I'd muck around with songs and stuff. And then I wanted to be a musician. Then I got into hip hop. And started writing political rap because it was the noughties, and it was all like Limp Bizkit, and the rock rap bands were the popular stuff at the time. And I also liked metal. So I started writing like rap music and very political rap music. I liked System of a Down as well, very political band. So I'd write very political rap music, and I wanted to record albums. And I used to go to the old Palais Youth venue in Newcastle. If you're from Newcastle and you're around my age, you'll remember the Palais Youth venue. It's a KFC now, they used to support us to record music and produce hip hop at the Palais Youth venue back in the early noughties. So that was a great community initiative. It went on to become the Loft Youth venue, and now the council shut that down as well. Always pulling funding to the arts and community sector. The government is. It's a shame. We need more of that. So I started recording music as a teenager at the Palais Youth venue, and I did a couple of songs there. Obviously, I don't have those anymore. Those recordings don't exist anymore. So yeah, and this is how I see myself contributing to society. And I could do many things. If you've watched my videos, I'm not a dumb bloke. I know a bit about the world, and I could be a lawyer if I wanted to. And I could be an economist if I chose to go to uni and study. I know a bit about that stuff, and I've got the brain for it. And there's a number of things that I could be, but I only want to be an artist, and that's how I see myself contributing to society through art that inspires people to think and that is provocative, and that inspires people to act for change. And that's the only way that I see myself contributing to society is through meaningful and powerful and poignant art that provokes thought and makes people consider, through very political art, because all my art is very political. And as I've gotten older, I went on to be with Renew Newcastle, as I've said in previous videos, which was a great community arts initiative which I support, and we need more of those initiatives in Australia. I went on to be with Renew Newcastle, and that was one of the proudest times of my life, because I always thought that was a great arts initiative and it made me feel like a professional artist. And that didn't work out, but after that didn't work out, I became even more determined that I was just going to keep creating, because I've always wanted to be a content creator, an artist and a creator of content and music and art. And before Renew Newcastle, I did Hadron C, as I've told you before, and we produced a number of music videos and stuff for Hadron C. As I've gotten along, I'm 37 now, I've just become more and more convicted, even when I fail, to achieve what I set out to achieve, which has happened several times now. I've set out to achieve things in the arts and it hasn't worked out. And every time it fails, I just become more convicted that I'm only going to do art and that it will be my contribution to society, is meaningful and powerful art. And it's a shame because we don't really see art as valuable in this culture, in this country, and people dismiss the value of art. But I see art as extremely valuable, as provocative, and as something that inspires people to think and consider life and reflect on life. And that's how I want to contribute to society. But our society doesn't really see art as a contribution to society. So I'm at this banging my head against a brick wall with society, because people don't value art and they don't value it as a contribution to society. But I've become more and more determined as I got older just to continue creating art and content and producing meaningful, powerful art and making a statement with art. And I'm determined now that that is all I'm going to do. So now I've become a prominent graffiti artist in the community. I value graffiti. I think graffiti artists can provoke thought and introspection and consideration of life. And a lot of people don't like me because of my graffiti, but I don't care. I'm going to keep doing my graffiti and putting my graffiti up. My latest graffiti stunt is Nathan the Conqueror, Nathan our glorious leader, which is me dressed up as a dictator. I actually used AI to create the image. Alan helped me, my support worker Alan. And that's a statement about the fact that anyone could become the next great dictator, and we just don't know. Someone went to high school with Hitler. Some kids sat beside Hitler in school. So that's what the commentary is in Nathan our glorious leader, Nathan the dictator. It's to say that every dictator there has ever been was once a child at school, and someone sat beside that dictator in school and they went on to become a great dictator. So you just don't know who it's going to be. So I'll continue to create powerful art and content and try to inspire people to act for change in the community through my art and content and my commentary. And that is how I see myself contributing to society. So it's a lifelong quest I'm on to leave an imprint on the world as an artist who said something valuable about the world. And I'm determined that it's all I'm going to do. So until the day I die, I'm going to be 110% devoted to creating powerful content, rich or poor. I'd like to be a millionaire artist. I'd like to become very wealthy, and I'd like my artworks to be valued at millions of dollars and to be very wealthy and make a lot of money out of it. And that's why I come at it with a business mind, and why I do a lot of business activities to promote my art. I want to make money out of it, and I'm trying to make lots of money. But rich or poor, even if I live in poverty for the rest of my life, I'm not going to do anything other than create art constantly. I am an artist, and that is what I'm doing with my life, and I will be remembered as an artist, and that is my purpose in life, and I've decided that, and I decided that many years ago, and nothing will waver me from that. So I continue to pursue that. So that's my dedication to the arts. So drop a comment in the comment section about whether you value art.